Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A very happy Wednesday to everybody out there. Go and see Alex and JJ tomorrow. They're going to be at the RV show Thursday, 3 to 6 at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Your opportunity to shop, compare, and buy the RV of your dreams. It's the RV show at Mountain America Expo Center with JJ and Alex tomorrow. Let's welcome in our next guest. You can catch him on Utah Jazz pre-half and post-game shows on TV. Longtime NBA player, Mike Smith. What's going on, Mike?
Hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. I've enjoyed watching the new-look Utah Jazz over the last week. Jaren Jackson Jr. Has changed the narrative around the Utah Jazz, and we knew it was going to happen at some point. We knew the rebuild was going to end. I'm not sure anyone was prepared for how quickly he would make this big of an impact. Are you surprised at how much it seems like things have changed over just 2 games?
Well, I realize the optimism and hope and belief that has been restored, all that came with the big trade because it's just so difficult. Ben, as you and I both know, it's just really, really difficult to make a trade for an all-star who's under the age of 30, who doesn't have baggage, right? He comes from good genes. He's got Dad's DNA, he just has a good pedigree. He's a 2-time All-Star. He plays on both ends of the floor. All those things. I think it's true. I'm not sure it's true. I know it's true among the first 5 guys that were chosen in his draft, meaning like DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley and Luka Doncic, and then Trae Young is 5. Jaren Jackson is 4. I think he's the only one that had not changed teams. And that's like a huge statement. So they not only get a guy who impacts play on both ends and elevates what you really need, because they needed more shooting. They need, for sure, more defense and versatility. But you also get a guy who's full of character and, wants to be here. Those are all wins. So, I'm not surprised at the impact he's had in just, a couple short games on a road trip. I am surprised and marvel that Danny and Justin and Austin and Ryan and Will, were able to pull off such a deal. So I'm really happy for the fan base, and I think the prospects are bright looking forward to next year.
Mike, I'll take it a step further. He's the only player from the 2018 draft in the first round who hadn't been traded in the first round, period, unless you count Miles Bridges, but Miles Bridges was actually drafted by the Clippers and traded to the Hornets on draft night. He's played every game with the team he really kind of started his career with. But every player in the first round is either out of the NBA or has been traded. It's very, very bizarre. But I think it's a good point to lead off of. We talked about this a little bit on this show. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to piggyback and just say you're right. That's even more to that point. And go ahead.
It's a weird spot that he fell into to Memphis, and I understand why fans, maybe wouldn't recognize it from being in Salt Lake City. He got drafted to a team that still had Mike Conley. And the thought was, okay, Mike's an all-star, or Mike's a borderline all-star. He hadn't made an all-star at that point, but he was the face of the franchise. And that eventually Jaren, very young coming out of Michigan State, was going to develop into the franchise piece. He was going to be the star. And while they were waiting for that to happen, they trade Mike Conley, and they get Ja Morant 3 months later, I think, in the draft, and Ja takes over the franchise. On the court and off the court. Everything is rearranged to make Ja comfortable, to make his dad, T. Morant, comfortable. And then Ja is so dynamic on the floor, it makes sense, well, that's your superstar. And Jaren never really gets to have the team become his own. And I'm starting to look at what's happening, even just through 2 games in Utah, and I think this might be the first time you're going to have Jaren Jackson on a roster that is built to maximize what he does, as opposed to him being a supporting player to someone like Ja Morant or like Mike Conley.
I think it's such a good point. And maybe because Ja Morant burst onto the scene with such prominence and such success right away, he was truly unguardable. That first playoff series of his where I think Golden State beats them, but it was down to the wire. Like, they had no answer for him. And he was he put so much pressure on their defense by how he could get into the paint and get where he wanted. So maybe, it's inevitable that a presence like that, a physical specimen like that, kind of forced Jaren to take a backseat. And I don't know Jaren's personality all that much yet. He seems like a great guy. I'm sure over the next 3-4 years I'm going to get to know every part of him when I spend time with him. But what I like about his elevated play is that it appears that it would not detract from or take from, say, his other star forward in Lauri Markkanen. Like, in the games that they've been together, they don't steal from one another. Like on the first game, 27 for Lauri and 22 for Jaren. They both played under 30 minutes, and it just seemed like they played off each other. And, like, Lauri's got to be so thrilled out of his mind to have another, prominent piece on the roster, for one, to take some pressure off the load he has to carry every night. But secondly, the skills don't overlap, right? You can space out Jaren Jackson. You can post him up. You can do different things. And I think they're going to get along beautifully. So, yeah, to your point, maybe he emerges, as the alpha that he was in college.
He's also a very nice person by all accounts. And, I'm sure you know these guys, Mike, as long as you've been around the league. Your dad plays in the NBA. You just kind of have a sense of the league that's different than a lot of people. You kind of know how to approach it as a professional. I mean, pretty consistently, it's a good marker for a player's career if they have a parent or an older brother or something like that played in the NBA that can kind of show them the ropes before they get there. So with that said, Jaren never said a bad thing about Memphis, nor should he. Good for him. I do think they supported him. But it was a mess. It's been a mess in Memphis for the last several years. Part of it because of Ja Morant's off-the-court issues. Part of it because, sometimes they just didn't realize their potential on the floor. I do wonder if just getting a new start in a new city culturally will be beneficial for his game.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And it's been a mess in Memphis because they fired Taylor Jenkins, let's be honest. Like, yes, Ja's stuff off the court has really impacted them, but they got rid of a coach who all he did was win. Like, all he did was win and get those guys to play really good basketball, no matter who was on the court. And they had a good thing going. Now, I will give them credit. Like, sometimes it takes teams like Sacramento Kings a lot of years to realize you're not doing the right thing or you're making mistakes. Sacramento, by the way, Ben, as you know, one playoff appearance in 20 years.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess. That's the Jazz opponent tonight. And that one playoff appearance is like only 3 years ago, right? 3 or 4 years ago, when they had the number one offense in the league. and now it's just, a mere fraction of what it was. They're dismal and terrible. But I give Memphis credit in this. It didn't take them 7 years to realize they were a mess. So, yeah, they made some mistakes. But between the trades, between Bane and Jaren Jackson, they ended up with like 7 first-round picks. So, and they still got Ja's trading piece to rebuild and hopefully, get something going in the right direction. But it's going to take them some time. But I always give teams credit who recognize errors and say, okay, it's time to start over. It's not unlike what the Jazz did, 3-4 years ago. That was different. They weren't a mess. It was just Danny's vision, Ryan's vision. We want to win. I don't just want to be competitive. I want to win it all. I want to bring a championship to this team, to this state, to this fan base. Can we do it as presently constituted? And the consensus was no. And those theories are playing out. Like, I don't know that Donovan is going to take a team as a team's number one player to a finals. Cleveland's okay. They're not great. Donovan is a really great player. But that's maybe not enough in Cleveland. Thus, they just made a move. Rudy is a fantastic player, limited in some regards, but fantastic. Can he take Minnesota to a title? I don't think so. certainly is not your B player. If he's your fifth best player, then yeah, maybe. But like they got it right, and it just takes time. I also really reward management for not making, let's say, ancillary, non-transitional moves at trading deadlines that would have amounted to nothing but except busyness. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was pressure on Danny and Justin in years past. What are you going to do at the trade deadline? You have so many picks. You have so much of this. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And Danny always used to say to me, he said, I'm not just going to do something to do something. Like, that makes no sense. Why would I just do that? That guy's the same good as this guy. Why would I just make a horizontal move? So they were smart, and they can still be smart. They still have a cupboard full of assets, and you're going to find a team who's desperate and needs to make a move, and you go get the next piece, and whatever that next piece is. Hopefully that next piece is a top 3 pick in the draft this summer. But, like, if short of that, go get yourself a great wing defender, you know, to match some of the other defensive things you're now getting, and you are a playoff team next year. I think they are a playoff team next year at full strength.
So do I. You've talked a lot about, you know, breaking down big men. You were a big man in the NBA, which is interesting. You actually spread the floor a little bit like Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. You had an approach that was similar to what Jaren's able to do. What I've been amazed at how holistically he's impacted the team quickly. We see trades and a guy will come in and it takes a while to adjust, and you see a couple of their natural strengths, but rarely do they fit in right away. What's maybe impressed you most through the first 2 games, 50 minutes that we've seen Jaren Jackson Jr. on the court as far as what he's been able to do to impact the team?
I still think he's a left-hander. I still think he was born left-handed and was given a basketball and told to shoot it right-handed. Like, as I watch him play, then everything he does naturally or instinctively gravitates towards the left. It's his preferred dunking hand. It's his preferred jump hook hand. It's his preferred shot blocking hand. But yet he shoots free throws, jump shots, 3-pointers right-handed, and equally as good as his left-hand jump hook is his right-hand jump hook. So that impresses me. But I think he's kind of I think it goes back to this, you know, father played in the NBA. He's got a good idea of how to conduct himself. I think that plays into transitioning to a new team. Not that he had experience doing it, but he kind of knows that I'm not going to demand the ball. I'm just going to go do my thing. And he said initially, I learned very quickly in the first practice, I better move from a Will Hardy scheme. Like, if I'm not moving, I'm wrong. And in this offense, I better move. So even when he's been wrong, and let's just say wrong because he hasn't had enough time to know where to go, he's smart enough to move and move the ball. And so those 2 traits will play well as he goes forward because this team really does move the ball. And it's only the rare case when they'll get a little bit stagnant. It hasn't happened in a while. It did happen in some close games, let's say in the first half of the season, fourth quarter, and they got a little bit isolation happier. Somebody had a hot hand. They tried to force feed the ball. But when they move, they got enough guys that move well enough, good things are going to happen. I just think Jaren's skills are variegated enough that he's going to fit in wherever, as a post-up guy, as a smaller 5, as a stretch 4, as a stretch 5, as a pick-and-roll guy. You know, the big action they've been getting in the last game was terrific. Like whether it was Lowry to Jaren or vice versa, or Nurkic to one of the 2 and vice versa, is impressive. Like, watch tonight. I know a couple guys aren't playing, right? I think Keontae's out. Lowry might be out tonight.
Lowry's available.
And oh, good.
Yeah, he's been upgraded to
and
available. Jaren's playing.
Oh, and is Jaren available?
Yep.
Awesome. Watch tonight the Jazz, let's say, prominence in the paint. Like I think they will destroy Sacramento in the paint. Like, just size and the ability to put 3 7-footers out there or 2 and play them in different positions. And Sacramento truly struggles at eliminating or nullifying the opposition's presence in the paint. They just do not have that component right now. And Sacramento's not playing anybody, I think I read, but I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of fun and exciting, and hats off to the team for a great move, and congratulations to Jaren. He seems like a great fit, and I'll probably see you there tonight.
Absolutely, you will. Mike, quickly on after this trade was made, I remember thinking, I think there's a real chance Jaren Jackson Jr. becomes the third option because Lowry's averaging 27 points a game and Keontae's averaging 24 points a game. And through his first two games, he's looked like the number one option because of the ease with which he can score. He can get to the paint. He can actually post up. He can get there in isolation, which is actually pretty unique for the Jazz's front court as far as big guys go. He's clearly a very dangerous three-point shooter. Is there a chance he does end up as the Jazz's number one offensive option?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess. I just think those other two are better scorers. Isn't that interesting? The jump Keontae's made, his ability to shoot in the mid-range, his ability to get to the rim. Keontae's become a really good layup maker, too. And you know that I think that's a skill that is developed and not necessarily born with. Like Steph's a great layup maker. Kyrie's a great layup maker. LeBron, believe it or not, is a great layup maker. It's a skill. And Keontae did not have a clue early on, year 1 and 2, like how to finish at the rim, but he's become like fantastic at scoring even off the wrong foot with the wrong hand and things like that. And Lowry's just so versatile and so dynamic that honestly, Ben, it doesn't matter to me, right? Like if you got three guys that can score 20 or 25 on a given night, what a fantastic, problem to have. It doesn't matter to me. And I don't think it matters to any one of those three. We know it doesn't matter to Lowry. If Keontae keeps ascending, he might be a 30-point scorer at some point because of the position he plays and his athleticism. But I think Jaren is right where he will end up. But that's not a bad thing. He could be 19 to 22 for the next 6 years. And if that's your case, you're like thrilled out of your mind.
I'm totally with you. And the one thing I would say is I kind of want it to matter to Lowry if I'm a Jazz fan. I want to make sure Lowry doesn't allow himself to fall back to being the third option, because if he does that, he's being underutilized, and at that point he's being overpaid. I think Lowry needs to make sure he puts a real emphasis on still scoring at a high level.
I had not thought about that, but I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're right. You're right. And he's ascended this year from even his best year, which was his first year with the Jazz 4 ago. And he should be thinking the same way. Yeah, this is my team, and I'm scoring 27 point whatever this year. I'm going to take it to 29 next year. He should. He's 28. He's not 32.
And he's got one of the best physical profiles and offensive skill sets in the NBA. I think if he lets the game come to him, I actually wonder if that's a mistake. I think he needs to make sure he puts a stamp on it. Hey, Mike, great stuff as always. I will see you tonight at the game. Thanks for jumping on.
You're welcome, Ben. We would never think this about Lowry, but like in his youth, like age 14, his mom's driving him to Helsinki, like 3 hours away from his family, and taking him to an elite basketball camp. And he's got a suitcase, and mom takes him in. He gets into his dorm room, and you just don't see this because Lowry is this statuesque figure today with this 7-foot physique that is desirable, right? Like it's like, wow, I wish I were built like that. But at 13, 14, he's just this skinny twig who was shy and, an introvert, and his mom drops him off at this camp, and his last words to his mom are, "Mom, I don't think I'm going to unpack my suitcase just yet." And she's like, "Well, why not? You're here for a week." He goes, "Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it more than a day." Like, it's funny to me to hear those stories and now look at the eventuality of what became of that kid. He is a grown man, and he is an NBA stud.
Mike, great stuff. We'll talk to you again tonight and next week.
Okay, see you, Ben.
There he is, Mike Smith, giving us a breakdown on Jaren Jackson Jr. and the Utah Jazz. When we come back, what you got Wednesday? Valentine's Day themed. Stick around. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.